today I'm going to show you how to make a really simple calendar for 2016 just using very few things. Okay, so to make this particular calendar, all I used was I used a Lelli-Bot Crafts Chippie, which is part of the frame pack. This is the back of the frame. We also they come with a frame front, so you can lay them up, but you don't have to use them together. So I'm using this one as a separate piece. I'm also using the Daisy fold and die cut topper pack with 6x6 papers. In this topper pack, you will receive 8 6x6 papers. There are 4 different ones, 2 of each sheet within the pack. So obviously the whole pack is in there, but from this collection I'm just going to use one of the pieces of paper. That's all I'm going to use. So you do have the 7 left, plus obviously there are coordinating toppers in the pack. Should you want to use a message or a sentiment on your calendar, there are some within there. If you wanted to add a topper on, you can do. On the back of all of the packs that we do, there is a picture showing you everything that you get within the pack. So if you store them like this in the cellophane bag, you can easily pick them up and see what's inside. But for this particular project, I'm going to put those to one side because all I need is my 1 sheet of paper. To go with this then, to make my sentiment and my butterfly, I'm just going to use the Radiant Butterflies stamp set, A6 stamp set. There are 2 different size butterflies, 2 sentiments and 3 flowers on there. And then all I will need is a calendar tab and some cord or ribbon and a charm. So let's get started. The very first thing I'm going to need to do is I'm going to need to cover my chippie with my papers. Now, the easiest way I find to do this, because the chippie is approximately 6x6 inches and that is the exact same size of the paper, all you're needing to do is to trim the corners off. So the quickest way to do this is with a pencil, is if you just gently draw around each of the corners, and then with the scissors you can just trim around there. Now, I always like to leave a little bit of an edge around the paper, so if it is slightly big, don't worry, because what I'll do is we'll sand that down using a nail file afterwards. Okay, so if we just get this trimmed, you can stick it on first and then trim round, but I find it easier to trim round first. So that's my corners removed. Okay, now that's the top of my chippie. It doesn't matter which side you stick it onto, and that's how I'm going to affix my paper to it. Now, I'm just going to use PVA glue for this. I'm not going to do anything special with the chippie beforehand. To ensure a nice even finish, even though the papers are quite a chunky paper, they're 170 GSM, just to ensure a smooth finish, I'm just going to paint the PVA around. Now my brush has just got a little bit hard, so I'm just going to make sure, and you don't need a lot because the chippie is made from a really thick, strong cardboard. You don't need anything special on there, so the PVA will adhere really nicely to it, because essentially it's paper on paper that you're sticking together, it's not wood or anything different. So I'm just going to evenly spread the PVA all the way along. As I said, my paintbrush is a little bit hard. I've overused it today and not washed it properly in between. So I'm just going to finish that off. You don't need to pile it on. Just need a really thin coat all the way across the chippie. Nice and even. Try and get all the bumps out and then it won't show through your papers. Nice and even cover, and then you can then place your paper on the top. You will have a little bit of wiggle time before it dries, so don't worry if you don't get it on straight first time. You will have a little bit of time. There we go. Nice and flat. Now, the easiest way to find your holes, and I would suggest you do this first, is if you gently run your finger across the top, push down, you can see the holes. They will start to appear So you can then place your pokey tool in the middle and then just push down. If you push down from the top, then the paper pushes through the hole rather than pushing from the other side and then you get the nasty bits of paper sticking through. Okay, so there are my holes on there. Okay, so I'm going to add first of all the sentiment. As I said, this is from the Radiant Butterflies A6 stamp collection, and it says, "The butterfly counts not months but moments and has time enough." And I think that's a lovely, lovely message, especially to put onto a calendar. So I'm going to use some of this Perfect Medium, and I'm also going to use some silver embossing powder with my heat tool to emboss this on. Okay, so I'm just going to make sure that I've got enough of it on the stamp there. So I want a nice crisp image. So I'm just going to give it a wipe. I'm just going to push that down in the middle underneath my butterflies, nice and straight. Push that down, hold it in place, and then it's ready for me to apply my embossing powder. So I'm just going to put a piece of paper under there, sprinkle some embossing powder on, tap it off, just blow off the excess bits. We don't want the excess bits to be shown. I'm just going to put this to the side because they will heat up with it. So if you've got a little bit of static on there, it will attach some of the excess embossing powder. We don't want that on there. So I'm just going to gently, just before I heat it up, just make sure I've got a nice crisp image there. Okay, so heat this up. And you will start to see, as soon as you apply the heat in one place, I tend to start at one end and then move my way on. So if you start the heat in one place, you will see when the embossing powder starts to turn, and you can move your heat across the embossing powder. You don't want to do it for too long. Just make sure you've got a nice even coverage on there. Okay. My sentiment done. Okay, so to attach the cord, all I'm going to do, I've just used one of the Lelli-Bot Crafts charms, is I'm just going to thread the cord through and then tie the cord in a knot at the back. Nice, lots of series of knots, nice and thick, so you don't want it popping through. And then that will then hold that in place. You can push your charm down, and then the other side, if you feed your cord through, then you can have your handle as large or as small as you want it. So I'm just going to trim that off there. Now if you wanted to tidy up your back, as you can see I've got the Chippie just on the back there, if you wanted to tidy it up, you could cover it up with a piece of card, you can ink it, you can paint it, you can cover it with another sheet of the paper from the collection, or you can just leave it as it is. You know, it doesn't look that bad, it's a nice, neat, smooth, even finish. I'm just going to trim those off. Okay, so that will be the front of my calendar there. Okay, so I'm just going to then, with some tape, I'm just going to add the tab. This is one that I had left from 2015. But these are nice and readily available, are these calendar tabs. And you can buy them in bulk, you know, you can get them in packs of 10. If you run a craft club or you want to make a few of these to sell, you could get 10 in one go and you could use lots of different designs for it. I'm just going to put it quite high up, so I don't want to disguise or hide some of the nice pattern that is there. So I'm just going to attach that there to one side. So just want to finish off with a butterfly. So this butterfly again is taken from the Radiant Butterflies collection, and there are a choice of 2 butterflies on there. There's a larger one and a smaller one. So if you wanted to stamp your butterfly down, you could stamp the butterfly image, and then you could have the smaller one stamped, and then you could fold it so that it's raised. But today I'm just going to stamp one butterfly. Okay, so I'm going to use my perfect medium again, and I'm just going to stamp it onto white card. So I want to just emboss that with silver. So I'm just going to make sure I've got a nice even coverage. I'm going to stamp that down, press it down flat. Once again, I'm just going to get my embossing powder, sprinkle that over the top, tap that off. Now, as you can see, I smudged it with my fingers as I pushed down with the stamp, but it doesn't matter too much on this occasion because I'm going to cut it out anyway. But you can see the detail on that stamp is amazing, for the details of the butterfly. So once again, I'm just going to heat that up, so apologise for the delay. You can see the embossing powder go as the heat is applied. And just follow your way around the image just to make sure that you've got every little bit covered. Just one final bit. And as you can see, the bit that I smudged with my fingers is also embossed. So I'm just going to now cut around. Now I do like to leave a little bit of a border. Now if you've got some inks, you can ink this up. So you can ink over the embossing with the colours. So if we're doing this, you know, you could do it with nice yellow butterfly or orange, just to coordinate. But I'm just going to leave this white on this occasion, just because I want to speed things up a little bit. So just going to quickly, if you've got a craft knife, you might be really adept at cutting that way, but I just prefer to use my trusty scissors. Okay, so I'm just going to, with the pokey tool, I'm just going to break down the fibres in the card and just gently roll that around my tool there. Just going to do the same at the other side, just so that we've got a bit of a 3D definition to the calendar there. So I'm just then going to fold that along the body. Now, attaching it to your calendar, you can use a bit of silicone glue, you can use some small foam pads, whichever you prefer. I'm just going to add a bit of silicone glue on there just to add a bit of height. So I'm just going to add that to there. My pokey tool, and then nice and simple calendar, easy gift, easy present, something that you can sell at your craft fairs. A Lelli-Bot Crafts Daisy Chippie calendar. Thank you for watching.